Picture this. It's 1950s British Columbia, and the post-war economy is booming. Cities and industry are growing and they're hungry for electricity. But the solution to that problem lies here, in the middle of nowhere. Right here in these wild, beautiful mountains. Today, we're exploring the links between hydropower, fish, and a train accident that changed everything. And it all centers around two places, in two different valleys, with hidden connections. If you drive to Whistler, you know this place. It is the Daisy Lake Dam. To understand why it's here, we have to dive into mid-20th century, when Canada was racing to electrify and modernize. In the rush to power up Vancouver, BC Electric, today's BC Hydro, decided to harness the Cheakamus River's wild power. But they didn't just build a dam, they engineered an entire system, turning a remote river into a powerhouse. And it exists because the Cheakamus River was simply too powerful and unpredictable for the small communities downstream. So this lake was created, storing up to 55 million cubic meters of water to be unleashed on demand. And where does it all go? Some flows out the spillway, but not all. Looking over here, you can just make out Shadow Lake, where there is a hidden feature few people ever see or notice. Let's see if we can get there. Okay, they don't want us in here, but you can see right here, this is the water intake for the Cheakamus powerhouse. Behind it are 11 kilometers of tunnel blasted underneath Cloudburst Mountain that pop out in the Cheakamus River Valley. Water from the reservoir travels down through the tunnels, drops down these penstocks and into the Cheakamus generating station, surging through massive turbines. The result? Electricity. At its peak, this place can pump out around 158 megawatts, enough to power thousands of homes.
Here's the clever bit. By building tunnels that bring the water straight from the reservoir to this power station, engineers make use of the 360-meter drop in elevation to build up huge pressure to drive turbines to create electricity without burning a single bit of fossil fuel. Clean, reliable, and nearly invisible.
But that's where things get complicated. Dams change things. Sure, they provide power, but they also disrupt natural systems. And the Cheakamus River was a lifeline for salmon and steelhead trout. Local indigenous communities, the Squamish and the Cayuse, depended on these fish for food and culture for centuries. So what happens when you build a giant wall across that river? You stop all the salmon from going beyond the Daisy Lake Dam. The project had long-term effects on fish populations and the animals that depend on them, like grizzly bears, wolverines, and many bird species. BC Hydro has worked to coordinate water releases from Daisy Lake, trying to mimic natural flows to help salmon migrate below the dam. Restoration of salmon above the dam remains an ongoing conversation.
If that's not enough, a twist hits this story in 2005 when a train running along these tracks derailed next to the river, spilling 40,000 liters of sodium hydroxide, lye, which is toxic to fish.
The river's pH shot up. Over 500,000 fish were killed almost instantly, including coho, chinook, pink, chum, and rainbow trout. It was one of the worst environmental disasters this area has ever seen. The spill made people rethink everything about how we protect and restore rivers after years of development. So what do we make of all of this? The Cheakamus Hydroelectric Project isn't just about making power. It's a chain reaction of choices and consequences. By putting a dam here, we harness energy for cities there. But we also disrupt a delicate balance that it impacts rivers, fish, and the communities far beyond the dam itself.
Cheakamus River may look wild and unpaved, but it's actually part of the brand of the Yale. Next time you click on a light or cow down on some fish, think about where it came from and how it's all connected.